Hello and welcome to the Quibber channel. I'm Jason, your host. A lot of people don't realise just how bad it can be for disabled people. For instance, did you know that in the 70s and 80s there was a policy in the UK called warehousing? Oh, it wasn't called that, but basically what the idea was this. Disabled people were costing too much living in the community. So what they did, they built care homes outside of the city, outside of the area, where you couldn't see them. And they would reduce the level of home help to the disabled people to the point where they were forced to give up their home, forced to give up their independence, forced to go and live in one of these, basically an internment camp, basically a care home away from the public, away from the thingy. It was called warehousing. This is why I will always speak out for disabled people. People see disabled people like me, see disabled people like others and that, and they don't want to see them. They don't want to know what's going on with us. They don't want to feel discomfort and uncomfortable having to deal with our problems. They don't want their world changed to fit us. They see it as an inconvenience. Yeah. I would love to go to the local shop. I'd love to walk outside my front door and not collapse. I'd love to not need the extra help, because this is the thing. I've always said this. It looks on paper like disabled people get more money than not disabled people. But people who aren't disabled, neurotypical people who live in the world, don't have any fucking idea of what it's like. I believe every single person who is not disabled in the country should have to spend a weekend trying to navigate their local city in a wheelchair, or even worse, be at the complete and total control of someone else while someone else pushes that wheelchair around. I think every single non-disabled person should see what that's like. There's such a lack of empathy. And with all the countries' councils running out of money, we're the easy ones to get at. They've already started it. They're bringing in new policies in different areas that are going to be basically the same as warehousing. They will reduce the home help for disabled people. Thankfully, I don't need that. To the point where they can justify saying, oh, we've got to put you in a home so you're safe. But it's not about that. It's just about the cost. If they pack like 1,000 disabled people in a custom-built place outside the city, outside the area where you can't see them, take away their autonomy, take away their independence, stick them in rooms, feed them at a certain time, wash them at a certain time, clean them at a certain time. And then it'll cost less. No, this isn't the 1980s, this is now. Yeah, NHS England has already introduced upper limits on the amount spent on supporting disabled people who live in their homes. which was actually classed by the Equality and Human Rights Commission, would see adults interned in care homes as a potential breach of their human rights. Disabled people, for whatever reason, whether it's mental disability, whether it's an issue, whether it's physical disability, I'm sorry that you find it uncomfortable. I'm sorry that you don't like that your taxes might go towards allowing them to have an equal chance at life as you. I hope you're never in that situation yourself, where you are basically have your rights taken away from you because there's no money. There's always a risk. There's always a risk. It's one of the concerns about being, when I have my assessment at the end of this month, and I hopefully finally find out where on the Autistic chart I am, and we get that. That's a label. Now, part of that can be very positive. It can be a validation. It can give me access to different things. It can allow me to see things that work well for someone in my situation at that point. But if the government ever decides that all disabled people need to be put in a home for their own benefit, yeah. Maybe you think I'm thinking about this, but take a look around. Take a look how much disabled people are getting persecuted. How even back when we had the virus, it was a lot of frustration and anger of the general public was because, oh, why should we all have to stay indoors when it's really only the vulnerable ones that could die of this? It's amazing how quickly the heart goes out the window, isn't it? I will never stop speaking out about this. I don't have a choice. It's the way my brain works. But the moment the state decides that it knows better for me and that I'd be better off in a home or a controlled environment, especially after all I've done to remain independent, it's a scary thing. It's a scary thing to be dealing with. This is Jason for the Quiver channel. Oh, and there's the other thing that they can do. I forgot before. Remember this. That if you're disabled, and they take you into one of these care homes, they can sell your house to pay for your being in there. Even though they've moved you out to your independent place, they've moved you out to thingy, they can basically mine your assets, mine your thingies to pay for it. And when you look at it that way, you can see the plan. You can see the long-term plan. It's not good. It's not nice. And it isn't just the UK that's doing this. Disabled people are an inconvenience. Looking after us is hard. Like I always said, and I was told by the doctors, I did 3 people's job looking after Paola for 20 years. And it wrecked me. So So this is Jason for the Quiver channel. I hope you're all having a wonderful day.